Hey, all right. So this is my honor human anatomy video for the lab practical. I'll be going over some major muscles in this video, especially the ones that I will need to know for the lab practical coming up soon for finals week, as well as any who may happen to be in my class. If you happen not to be part of my class, as in being in Lincoln High at the time of viewing this video, then I hope this video is still of assistance to you. And please, like, um, tell me you like what you like about the video in the comments below. Like the video if you like it. Subscribe if you want to see more, and never stop learning. That said, let's get into the anatomy of the musculoskeletal system. We have a packet that my friends from Lincoln High will be very, very familiar with. It will often appear in their nightmares, or at least it does sometimes in mine. In any case, I'll be going over the major muscles that will be striving to identify. I'll be going over their insertions, their origins, and what that means, and I'll also be going over their general functions. Although, remember, if you can identify where a muscle is, then because you are literally a human anatomy model yourself, you can usually identify what it does. First up, I'm going to use this lovely tool called BioDigital at human.biodigital.com. I am going to search up the first muscle on our thing called the masseter. And you have two, of course, one for this side and one for that side. But it seems to be covered up under stuff, so I'm going to use the BioDigital tool of dissection. So I'm going to do that. I click on muscles or just structures and they go away. So this is the masseter. Its origin, or the point of attachment that moves the least, it's the anchor point usually, that moves the least and is most medial to, like, closest to the midline of the body. That's for the masseter, that's the zygomatic arch. The insertion being all along the mandibular angle, that's this side of the mandible, and on the mandibular all along the mandibular angle, which is the corner of the mandible, and on the mandibular ramus. If you remember from my skeletal anatomy video, the mandible is composed of the mental part and the ramus. So that's the masseter. You should totally be able to identify it just by... Oh, there's my masseter. Next up, very close, is the temporalis. Oh, oops. Well, that's why we have two, in case Joseph accidentally gets rid of one. So we have the temporalis. And since we're already on the left, let's go to the right. Oh wait, I am on the right, so let's go to the left. Okay, whatever. So remember, we don't need to memorize every single muscle and where it goes and what it does. We just need to know major groups and major muscles. So I'm going to get rid of this right here. and I'm showing you the entirety of the temporalis that I can. So the temporalis's origin and major attachment point is all along the temporal bone. That's this that's this plate on your skull. If you need more information for your temporal bone, check out my video. It attaches to the coronoid process on your mandible, and what both the masseter and the temporalis do is is elevate your mandible or close your mouth like this. And when you clench your jaw, they're the muscles that suddenly bulge out on the side and up here. Temporalis is clearly up here. Next up, we have circular muscles. The orbicularis oculi. Let's go to the one on this side. I've left the major sense organs, that is the eyes, ears, nose, tongue. I've left those in the in this model so that it's not creepy, or it's less creepy. So remember, an orbicularis muscle is a circular muscle, meaning that it's striated in a circle and that it has one point at which it's squinting. The orbicularis oculi, that's these two around your eyes, and your orbicularis oris, that's this one over here around your mouth. These ones are actually, their insertions and origins are on the skin itself. So, and the contraction point. So your orbicularis oris, that's the one on your mouth, it's attached to your skin. So that's the origin point. And it's so for the eyes, origin point is the skin around the eyes. For the mouth, the origin is the skin and lips, the skin on your lips and your lips themselves. All right. Next, how am I doing for time? I'm at 7:29 so far. I'll see how fast I can get through this. I'll try to do this in as few videos as possible. All right. Next is the sternal group. So sternocleidomastoid. So the sternocleidomastoids help you turn your neck like this. So when I do this, it's this muscle. It's right here. So it attaches to the mastoid. It attaches to the occipital bone in the back. No, wait. Oh, actually, it's attached. So, if you remember the skeleton, this giant stick that actually goes underneath is called the mastoid process, and the sternocleidomastoid attaches to that. But its other end is actually, what do you know? It's on the sternum, which is why it's called the sternocleidomastoid. But it's also attached along this part of your clavicle, on the medial part of your clavicle being your collarbone. So that's that. Your sternohyoid. I'm going to have to do a lot of dissection for this, but for your sternohyoid, it's attached to the back of your sternum and your hyoid, or your voice box bone. So let's cut away a little bit so that you can see. It's attached to your hyoid and yep. It's attached to the bottom of your hyoid and the back of the top part of your sternum, which is, your manubrium. And first page. What a wow. Luckily, not all of the pages are so packed. Next we're going to look at the levator scapulae. So if all the origins and insertions are freaking you out, don't worry, because most of the muscles we're going over have very close or the same insertion and origin. Like a lot of the muscles in your arm attach right here or right here. So don't worry yourself too much. Next muscle will be the levator scapulae. Let's go to the left one because I like the left side. All right, so see how it's all buried under the muscle? I'm going to have to get rid of some of that muscle so that you can see it. So your levator scapulae is attached to the transverse processes of your first 4 cervical vertebrae. That's C1 through C4. Remember, the transverse is the process on the side of the vertebrae, the little stick on the side of the vertebrae. So on these 4 vertebrae, its origin, and its insertion is on this side of the scapula, just this vertebral border, or the border of your scapula closer to the vertebra. Next we have the rhomboid minor, and should be right here. Yep. So these two are your, I'm going to scroll out a little. These two are your rhomboids. This is your rhomboid minor, and this is your rhomboid major. Minor means it's smaller, major means it's bigger. These are attached. The rhomboid minor is again attached to the vertebral border of the scapula, and to the last cervical vertebrae, or the last vertebra in your neck, and the first vertebra in your rib cage, or your thoracic vertebrae. So remember, its origin are on C7 and T1, or cervical 7 and thoracic 1, and on the vertebral edge of your scapula. And then your rhomboid major is on the vertebral edge of your scapula, and on T2 through T5. That's the second thoracic vertebrae through your fifth thoracic vertebrae. So these 4 vertebrae behind it, as you will see when I click it away. Beep, and zoom in a little. So see those 4 vertebrae it was attached to? That's what this one therefore is also attached to, because it's your other one. So yeah, what this muscle does is these 2 muscles, they're your major back, some of your major back muscles, except for the giant sheet of muscle that I just cut away. They're the major movers of your shoulder blades towards your spine. I don't know if I went over the sternohyoid, but the sternohyoid helps you talk. It moves your hyoid up and down, effectively changing the length of your vocal cords and therefore the pitch of your voice. Next page, we're going to be now talking about your scapular muscles. So, hello, thank you. So first on the list is you know what, whatever. I'm just going to turn this off so that I can click on things. So I'm also going to just put this away so that I can get the info on. So your supraspinatus attaches on your suprascapular fossa, your supraspinous fossa. Remember, this giant ridge on your scapula is a spine. Not this spine. This is a different spine. It's a ridge of bone. And above it, or superior to it, is your supraspinous fossa. And your left supraspinatus, or muscle above your spine, is attached to your supraspinatus spinal fossa. It's also attached to. It also goes around the acromial end of the acromial ridge, or the shoulder bump right there, and it attaches to your greater tubercle of the humerus. Remember, this humerus has two big bumps that a whole lot of muscles attach to. Most of these scapular muscles will be attaching to your greater tubercle. We also might want to talk about the infraspinatus, which is inferior or below your spine, or not your spine, but the spine of your scapula. It's attached to the infraspinous fossa, and again to the greater tubercle on your humerus, or on the appropriate humerus. Next is your teres minor. So you're actually seeing most of the muscle, but because this infraspinatus isn't the way, I'll just show you. So your teres minor just attaches onto your scapula and along the infraspinous. This is actually the edge of your scapula. So it goes on the lower or inferior border of your scapula, and again to your greater tubercle. This is your teres major. It goes on this part of the shoulder blade, or your scapula. Again, the inferior or lower edge, and unlike most of these muscles, instead of attaching to the greater tubercle, it attaches. If all these muscles would get out of the way, let's cut them away. Whee! Boop. It attaches right here on your lesser tubercle. So greater, lesser. They're these giant ribs. This attaches here on your lesser tubercle, which is the smaller of these giant bumps on your humerus. All right. And last and not technically least, but certainly most underneath, is the subscapularis. So we're going there. We're going to have to cut away a whole lot of stuff. So let's get cutting. Wee. All right, so you should be able to see most of your subscapularis. So like the teres major, it attaches to your lesser trochanter, but unlike the teres major, and unlike almost any other bone in your body, it attaches to the back of your scapula. Technically the front, depending on how you look at it. Anyway, it attaches to the part of your scapula closer to your ribs, so it goes basically around your back, through all these other muscles I just cut away, and right here. That's your subscapularis. Remember, it's under your scapula, because as you're looking out from closer to the surface, it's underneath your scapula, which is why it's your subscapularis, because it's underneath, like the subway. And what do you know? We're already 4 pages in. Page 5. Let's start talking about your arms. All right, so it looks like I'm going to have to refresh this. I'm going to turn off all of the muscles and turn them all back on again so that we can see them all with a fresh perspective, and I haven't cut any away anymore. And you know what? I'll turn off the dissection option. All right, so first up, when we're talking about your arms, is this guy, or the biceps brachii. And it's spelled thusly: biceps brachii. So biceps means two origins. See how it kind of branches here? It goes to two spots on your... I'm going to cut again. Goes to two different spots on your bones. It goes to the acromial end of your... It goes to your first rib right here, right under your clavicle, and it also goes to your lesser trochanter. Those are two origins, so it's a biceps, two origins. And because it's on your arm, it's a brachii. So brachii means arm, so two origins on your arm, it's your biceps. Of course, you already knew that. And its insertion, or the one that moves more, is just right here along your radial tuberosity, or this tuberosity on your radius. You'll recognize it if you ever see it, but it's this bump on this bone in your forearm. So you know how your forearm is divided into two bones. It's this one, the one attached to your thumb. That's your radius. Mr. Wardlaw, our teacher, says you remember radius because it's rad. So it's on your radial tuberosity. That's your insertion for your biceps brachii. How am I doing for time? I'm doing bad for time. All right. This may end up being split into 2 or maybe 3 videos. So I guess this is part 1, but you kind of already knew that, didn't you? I didn't. I'm slow. I'm catching up. Next we have the brachialis, but I don't need to search it up to show you because I know exactly where it is. So this one that's right under where the biceps used to be, but before I cut it away, this one attaching to the lateral side of your humerus, or the side away from your midline, and attaching to the same spot as your biceps brachii, or onto the radial tuberosity. This is your brachialis. I'm pretty sure it's the smallest major arm bone, but it's still major because it's the one that makes it so instead of your muscle being all one, there's this big lump right here. This is your biceps brachii, and the muscle right here is your brachialis. So yeah, on the outside front part of your humerus, which is your anterior, or on the front, and on your... Oh, it's not on the radius. Oh, my bad. It does not attach to your radius. It attaches to your ulna, your karate chop bone, but it's down here, so it's attaching right to there. Oh, huh. Guess I'm feeling it. Looks like that's my brachialis. I bet you guys can feel that too. So this is your karate chop bone, the muscle attaching from your karate chop bone to right about here. If you just kind of shove your bigger biceps aside, it's right there. All right. Now, this next arm bone, I don't need to cut anything. I hope I don't need to cut anything away to show you. Yep, it's right here. It's called your triceps. Why is it called the triceps, you ask? Well, because of course it's got 3 origins. So let's cut away this infraspinatus and this teres minor, and let's highlight your triceps. So remember, this is the triceps brachii. You have a triceps femoris. You have one on your leg. It's called your triceps femoris because it's got 3 origins, but it's on your leg, especially on your femur bone. But the 3 origins for your triceps brachii, or the one on your arm, right there, is right here on the posterior humerus. Right here, you just say the back of the humerus, the posterior of it. And there's also an insertion on the infraglenoid tubercle of the scapula. Or, in layman's terms, on the so you have 3 tubercles on your scapula. This is your glenoid tubercle. So right beneath it is inferior to it. So on the infraglenoid tubercle, that's that. And on the other end is the olecranian process of the ulna. That's this bump right here on your karate chop bone. You can feel it if you dig around under your skin. There you'll find it. That's your triceps insertion point. All right, and that's the major upper arm muscles. I think I'm going to end this video at this point. Look for part 2. You should be able to find it. I think I'll publish it with this one tonight. I'll cover the ones in your forearm, and the major ones in your forearm, and also on your thoracic wall or your rib wall, and on your pectoral girdle. And then I'll just see what else I can get done. If I don't finish, then I guess look for part 3. So yeah, again, don't be scared by the number of insertions or origins on all of these. Remember, they share a lot of them, and if you get lost on where it's supposed to be inserted or where it's supposed to attach, you can just find it on your own body most of the time. Thanks for watching. Never stop learning. Bye-bye. This is a really long and awkward goodbye. Goodbye.